From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big Saturday afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. Those Democrats still want you to have a monthly stimulus check. We'll go over how much they want you to have and when they want you to have it. Then we'll go over the deal making the president did on Thursday and Friday. The two-track path to take fourth stimulus to the finish line. But for the first time on Afternoons LALATE, you see new breaking details about the voting process that's causing some questions. I'll be answering your questions and addressing the issues across the board. Breaking news you're going to hear for the first time in this bombshell of a Saturday's afternoon. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall with another benefit. That benefit is the raising up of your benefits, plus a fifth stimulus check for 2022. Then we cut to the thousands of dollars that viewers continue to get. And you could be next. They're getting $5, $10, even $12,000 in just the last 7 days. It's a big weekend, and yet there's still a lot of breaking news across the board. And I got it all for you right now, starting right this minute on this massive Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's Saturday afternoon. Hope you're having a beautiful weekend. Are you crushing the weekend? Crush the weekend. Hope your day is going well. It's beautiful weather here in Southern California, in Santa Monica. It is very, very sunny, but there's a light breeze, not particularly hot. So wonderful. You can actually almost wear like a light vest. It's not that warm at all. So I'm loving the weather. How is the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check, massive Afternoons LA bombshell of a recording, we're going to be going over that fourth stimulus check the Democrats still want you to have, the calculations, the Senate versus House. And then we'll be going over what the president did on Thursday and Friday, the two-track process that includes keeping your stimulus checks exactly where they are and now protecting them in sort of a forward of progressive ideas. But then, for the first time on this Afternoons LA broadcast, you're going to see the surprising twist about the third part that I'd always said to you. It's going to be very fascinating. It's the voting process. Not so much what's in the items, but the voting process. Who goes first, who goes second. And I told you that I was predicting something to be talked about this weekend, and guess what? It's this. That and crypto crash. I mean, I just sort of, my predictions are going very well. I wonder if I should predict the Kentucky Derby. Well, that's already happened. So coming up later in this video, we'll be going over fifth stimulus, which heats up as well. And that will have a raise of your benefits and a new stimulus check. And then in the middle of this video, we're going to go over the thousands of dollars you're going to get across the board. Viewers are getting a lot of money, $12,000. And this is LALATE, America's only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week financial news channel. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons, like this show. Coming up right after this show is the massive Afternoons LALATE. It's going to be a big show tonight, so stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to evening's LALATE, done right after this video. And then we go into overnight's crypto, and then evening's crypto. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. Every like helps in the algorithm rankings, and it also delivers a beautiful avocado. Not avocado toast, just avocado. You got to make your own toast. What do I look like, your chef? So no. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that fourth stimulus check from those Democrats, and let's go over all the incredible details you need to know at Afternoons. The fourth stimulus check is monthly, whether you're looking at the senators or you're looking at the House members. Let's compare. House Democrats would be giving you a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate Democrats would be giving you a stimulus check from now to December. Senate Democrats and House Democrats also have different approaches to how much the pay-fors are. House Democrats would be providing you $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000. Senate Democrats would be giving you a monthly payout of a little bit more, word on the street is it's this. Wow. Now that's deliciousness. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $80 for $100. If you're on the live chat just after 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from. But here's something we need to look back at. This one. Jalopal's House bill provides pandemic plus 1 year. Well, those legislators may contend the pandemic's over. So that may reduce Jalopal's bill to 1 year, which would be 12 checks over 12 months, which is $13,000 under Jalopal's bill. Let's compare that and contrast it to the Senate proposal over 6 months. Yeah, I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. I want to see you in the live chat right now. Vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. So there you go. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that everyone who got a third stimulus check would get a fourth stimulus check. So you. If you are a single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Just double it. Family of four, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Just quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, congratulations, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, and Survivor benefits. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. Good for that. And the fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. So it would not come in waves. It's not a waivable check. So if you do see the check at the Sunday breakfast buffet and you say, hey, check, I see you like the Eggs Benedict. Sort of stuffing up that plate, are you? How are you doing, check? And the check doesn't wave back. Don't get upset. It's not a rude check. It's just a hungry check. Do you really have to take 3 Eggs Benedict? Oh, overstuffed check you are. What do you think you are, a $100 bill? It's not an overstuffed check. It's just, it's just a check. It's a hungry check. We're hungry for our checks. I'm hungry for my check, so just don't eat all my Eggs Benedict. There you go. That is your fourth stimulus check. Who's hungry? And the fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August. The Democrats represent the final vote will be by July 4th, and there you go. That is the first of your 3 parts update of the fourth stimulus check in this recording. In the second part of this video, we will be going over the 2-path process that is now underway in the fourth stimulus. Recon and bipartisan, with recon keeping still in there your fourth stimulus, climate, and all the progressive policies. And then the third part of this recording, you're going to hear new stuff for the very first time breaking just this afternoon, which goes over the voting process. How are they vote on one thing, how they're going to vote on another. That's coming up, so stay to the very end of this video. It is shocking. There's always something surprising with these people. Yeah, so here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, and it heats up this fall with raising up your benefits lifetime. And the comments from Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve this week, were absolutely wonderful. Signaling inflation is red hot. Red hot, hotter than a red hot chili pepper. And that could signal your benefits could go through the roof, plus a fifth stimulus check. It's wonderful news. And it's coming up in the second half of this video. But let's get some money. Let's get some money. It's Saturday, and you need to have extra money to get some of that Eggs Benedict you're stealing all from us. Leave some food, greedy check. So get that pen and paper ready, and I get some money for you. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do. I get people a lot of money. I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans in 2020 to save their businesses, their homes, and also their employees' homes. And then fall 2020, people were waiting for second stimulus to pass, much like how we're waiting for fourth stimulus to pass right now. And I said, you need money. Let me get you some money. And I got viewers half a quarter million dollars of money for rent. And we're doing it right now as well. So get that pen and paper ready, and let's go over all the details. There is available rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. And the rent is a fortune. I've been saying it's about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. But guess what happened this week? Viewers that took my advice got $10,000, $12,000, even $14,000. So viewers are getting a lot more than I've even thought they could get. And get that pen and paper ready. And if it must be a Crayola crown, then I'm sure you got the color pink in that box somewhere. Borrow it if you don't have it. Get ready. Each place has different eligibility. So when you reach out to one, I'm going to show you a couple places to reach out. Don't worry if one says no, the next one will have say yes. They also have their own pots of money. All right, here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID, or utility assistance because of COVID. And yet don't say words they don't know, like stimulus. They don't know that word. Or Nancy's freshly baked croissants. They're like, what are you talking about? Is that like $12 as well? Which you say, yeah, it is. Click, did you just hang up on me? Yeah, so don't mention Nancy's freshly baked $12 croissants because they'll just evoke the $12 ice cream and the phone conversation will be over. So there you go. But congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this money, and congratulations to those viewers who got $10,000 and $12,000. The next pot of the money is wonderful. It is money for SNAP. It comes from the Department of Agriculture, and it's money for your food. And viewers are killing it. You're killing it. One viewer got $5,000 for this last week, the week before. One viewer got $67,000 for this. And Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, her mom, and Gail got it as well. If you're in the live chat right now and you've gotten a penny from this channel, or more than a penny from this channel because of these recordings, drop in the live chat what you got, because it inspires me, inspires everyone else. Everyone is just celebrating the successes of fellow viewers who are getting $300, $400, $500 a month because of this channel, and we want to see one another succeed. So jump in the live chat and tell other viewers what you got as well. And this money is wonderful. How much money is it? It's a lot. Family of four in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of two executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And you're doing an incredible job. I just have to really praise you. You are doing so wonderful. And if you got in one item, you then get 2 or 3 items. And in a second, later in this video, I'm going to show you how I can give you help if you're having problems finding the money. But boy, you're getting $16,000 for rent, $16,000 for SNAP, $5,000 for rent, and we are just starting on in this. And we're at the 12-minute mark. Oh, I got more money for you right now, and it's money coming back from the states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you. One viewer got $5,000 for this. What is it? It's states that had overpaid you unemployment due to computer error. Now the states have been ordered to return the money back to you. So where are you getting it? To the tax return, to the direct deposit you have on file with the state. When are you receiving it? Well, reach out to your state and say, when am I getting back that check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? And finally, the wonderful refund of your IRS check for that unemployment benefits. Ka got it, Margaret got it, Michael got it. Let's go over when, where, and how you can track it starting right now. First, how much money is it? It's a lot. For example, let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits, of which you paid a $5,000 tax bill, total of which $4,000 was the taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where and when this month, where direct deposit that was on the return, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can track it. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and go in there, and you're going to be surprised the stuff it's going to reveal. Stuff you never knew. It's going to show the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid, the name of that hair color that Nancy uses, the reason why the $12 ice cream is really $12. And why $1 ice cream is actually more tasty than what $12 ice cream. And finally, the refund check you're getting back from IRS. Is there more wonderful news than that? There is, and it's the second of your 4th stimulus check updates of 2021 starting right now. Boy, there is a lot of stuff happening. And in the second part, we're going to be going over understanding where the stimulus is now, where it's heading, and where other things are as well. These first details manifested themselves on Thursday, but they first formulated reportedly on Wednesday night and were discussed in the weeks before. On Wednesday night, Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi went to the White House and spoke to the president and reportedly said, we can't do the recon by itself. It's too big. It's bloated. So we have to spin off some cast members, sort of like a sitcom. A sitcom that has too many stars, and some stars just are too big for the show. They're going to have to spin them off in a separate TV spinoff. And so the president said, I like that idea. The discussions were the following: that the recon by itself is too big, too bloated, that when you spin it off and you do it as two separate items, it'll work. But you can't do it as just one item. They loved it. And then on Thursday, the president met with Republican legislators and Democratic legislators, part of what's called a bipartisan group, and they liked it as well. Which brings us to what was agreed upon. Two paths. One path is recon, the original recon minus certain provisions which are now in path 2, bipartisan. What's in the recon? Everything that you and I have been talking about on this channel. It's still there. Nothing that concerns you has been moved. All your stuff was in recon and still is in recon. For stimulus, checks, climate, CARES economy, all those items, all that deliciousness that was in recon is still in recon. So what was taken out of recon and spun off into a spin-off show? The roads and bridges. So unless you own a road or bridge, you don't have to worry about anything. So wait a second, you mean our stuff is still where it is? Yeah. All your stuff is still where it is. All they did was take out of the bloated recon bill roads and bridges and put them in the bipartisan agreement. So now we have two paths. Path 1, everything that is still in recon that was there before this week, and now the bipartisan. Again, the recon has everything that we have been talking about. It was there before and it's still there, but now spun off in a separate TV series, the bipartisan, which has roads and bridges. Pretty easy to follow, isn't it? I believe it's easy to understand. Now, do we have any bills? No. We currently have two paths. They have not finished the bills. What will be the bills eventually? The reconciliation procedural bill, the reconciliation substantive bill, and the reconciliation and the bipartisan agreement. Once again, we have two paths, the recon and the bipartisan. Everything discussed on this channel is still where it is. So for purposes of our analysis on this channel, nothing has changed so far in this recording compared to even a week ago. Everything that was there is still there. And everything that concerns you is still there. Stuff that did not concern you, like roads and bridges, have been spun off into a bipartisan path. Pretty easy to follow. So what's different? The voting process. And what's new on Afternoons LALATE in this bombshell recording? What's happening with that voting process? New twists and new wrinkles, and it's coming up in the third part of this fourth stimulus check update. So how did we get to this wonderful spot with still having our wonderful stimulus where it was? Ironically, Jalopal. Jalopal had given us sort of a hint, and that hint came a week ago this last Friday. Jalopal had that quote, which I had read to you with the Brian Schatz quote, who's also a progressive Democrat of Hawaii, that said that the president, this is Jalopal, that the president was loving that Jalopal was protecting the president's progressive policies of climate and CARES economy, and that the president was protecting Jalopal's provisions of stimulus, like stimulus checks. So why is it actually even better today than it was a week ago, even though nothing has really moved for you? It's still in the same location where it was. Because now the recon is really purely progressive policies. Checks, monthly checks, progressive policies, climate progressive policies, and CARES economy, all very progressive policies, inside a very well-protected fort of reconciliation, which goes by purely Democratic vote, and that everything that's not progressive, like roads and bridges, is separate and somewhere else. In a way, everything that you want, everything that progressives want, are in that recon, almost protected like a fort, with a fort around it. As the president, as that wonderful comment said a week ago, the White House considers the progressive priorities their own priorities. There you go. So the president was prioritizing that his recon keeps his priorities. It's wonderful news. So how do we get to this wonderful spot? With Jalopal, there we go again. Jalopal had written Schumer a letter about a week ago saying Chuck call the vote. But that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who were among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter and said that they will be writing monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, who are these people? They are on the House subcommittee that writes stimulus checks. That House subcommittee is solely responsible on the House side for writing monthly stimulus checks. More about these people later in this recording, so remember these people. But did they write the first stimulus check? They did. Did they write your second stimulus check? They did. Did they write your third stimulus check? They did. And now they say they're currently writing your fourth stimulus check, and they claim there will be a fifth stimulus check in the fifth stimulus package. Wow, now that's wonderful news. More about that later in this video. But boy, how do we get to that spot? Is there even more wonderful news? Yes. As the president 2 weekends ago, today, anchored fourth stimulus reconciliation to the finish line by getting an international agreement among other countries to raise the global corporate tax rate so that businesses in the United States will not move overseas. This is wonderful news. Let me go over what this means and why it's even more clear today. When you're looking at the two paths, the reconciliation only is paid for by raising U.S. corporate taxes, only the recon part. Now, the president has always said he was concerned that if he raised U.S. corporate taxes, that U.S. corporations may move overseas to where there's a lower corporate tax rate in a particular country. So he reached out to those countries of lower corporate tax rate and said, hey, can you raise your rate? And they said yes. To which the president said, I like those countries. Let's meet them around Christmas and bring Jill's potpourri recipe. And so then suddenly someone said, well, the potpourri is very nice in July as well, Mr. President. Oh, well, let's go meet them now. So he went and met them now 2 weeks ago and got them to sign on the dotted line now, which anchors fourth stimulus to the finish line because now the provisions about international taxes do not need to be in the recon bill because they're covered in the international agreement that protects that international tax issue. It's wonderful, wonderful news. Can we top that? We can with the third part of your fourth stimulus check update, which is all massively breaking news this afternoon, which will go over the voting process, but whether there was or wasn't an agreement or a fallout between Thursday and this morning between the White House and the bipartisan group. Oh boy, here we go. I told you this was something happen on the weekend. Yeah, there we go. That's coming up in the second half of this video. You got to stay with me because, boy, this is a bombshell. I'm not kidding. But first, something even more wonderful and not so much bombshell. The volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, or SNAP, and you've tried and you can't find it, don't worry. Reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page. How do you find the community page? Open the description of this video. Go down, you'll find an emoji of a house. Click on the emoji of the house where it says news.la.com/community, the community page, and it'll send you over to a picture of some kitty cats. That's the community page, news.la.com/community. Go lower on the page and it'll show you the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them and they'll help you get that rent, utilities, mortgage, and internet. Now, they can't bake you an enchilada. They can't give you directions to Mitch's Lobster Fest. And they can't tell you if Pat Toomey is Toomey-ish. But they can also help you maybe get to Calcino. And with that, I'll be back in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit more about the community page. But stay with me for that bombshell about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus coming up right after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on this monstrous bombshell of an afternoon's LA broadcast starting right now, direct from Santa Monica, California. Boy, in the second half of this video, you're going to see some bombshell details about fourth stimulus you're hearing for the first time on this afternoon's LA broadcast. And then we cut to fifth stimulus as well, with that additional stimulus check and the raise of your benefits. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Thank you for your incredible subscriber growth this week. You've been doing a great job. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. Every video like helps in the algorithm rankings. It also delivers a piñata. I'm not going to say who the piñata is of, though. But it should be you, because you took all the darn, Egg McMuffins. Yeah, you check. But first, also consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that fifth stimulus, which heats up right now. Fifth stimulus is wonderful and had a lot of breaking news this week. We're going to go over all the details starting right this moment. First, fifth stimulus check. Yes, there will be a fifth stimulus check. It will be January, so it will not overlap with fourth stimulus. The legislative effort for it will start in September, out the door by about October, November, and checks starting in January. We don't know if it's monthly. We don't know how much yet, but we know it will be a fifth stimulus check. Number two, the president has dedicated $1 billion to Social Security Administration to ensure you get payments going forward on time. Thank goodness. So no more of that debacle from third stimulus for people on benefits getting checks late. Whether you're a veteran or a senior or you're on railroad benefits, you would get checks on time going forward. This is for fourth stimulus checks, fifth stimulus, and of course your monthly benefits. And then finally, inflation. Even today, more analyst reports were talking about that inflation is going to be red hot. Here's what you need to know when we're talking about fifth stimulus raising up your benefits later this year. You have to hope for three events going into this week. One, they pass the bill. Two, that inflation hits its highest point in December when they apply the benchmark for you. And three, that the number is very high. Well, this week we had the wonderful news. Coming from multiple directions, that number two was confirmed. That inflation will hit its highest spot when they apply your benchmark, which is absolutely wonderful. The Federal Reserve Jay Powell said that December will be the spike. The CPI, the PPI, all released in the last 7 days. The Labor Department's number on Friday and the jobless new claims on Thursday all signal that inflation is maybe about here and coming right up to a spike around November, December, right when they apply the benchmark annually for your benefits for next year. Let's go over how this calculates for you because, boy, it is wonderful. First, they're going to raise your benefits up. Then in December, they'll apply that inflationary benchmark every year. They'll remove the asset limits and they'll remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. The only thing that remains unknown, and we won't know till the very last second as we get into November, is what is that inflation rate going to be in November, December. Analysts this week, on the week before, said it's looking like about 10%. We're about 4% right now. Let's use that as a number, potentially. So first, they'll raise your benefits up. Who's you? If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or Calcino benefits. Calcino benefits? Then they'll apply that benchmark in December. You know what a benchmark is. It is to gauge whether your benefits go up the next year. And you know the new benchmark will be inflation. And you know that inflation will be high. And you know that it'll raise your benefits up next year. But let's say it's 10%, for example. Well, according to Jay Powell, we're going up, and hitting that spike right then and coming back down. But we're hitting that spike right when they apply your benefit benchmark for next year. That means your benefits would step up not just approximately 10% next year, but lifetime. This is incredible, wonderful news. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand, just in time to get some stimulus checks in your hand and maybe a nice taco. They're going to have room to get rid of that income cap that dates back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work and also stay on benefits if you wish. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Viewers will no longer fear loss of benefits or be penalized because they're married. And viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But how are viewers getting so much money from this channel? Whether it's $12,000 for rent for one viewer, another viewer getting $10,000 this week, and those viewers of the last 2 weeks getting snap of $5,000 to $7,000. How are they doing it? They're by becoming members. Members are delivered daily a breakdown of all the big money in third stimulus for them. And that breakdown is delivered to them as a member by me, handwritten from the community page on YouTube daily. It details all the money in third stimulus you can get, all the money in fourth stimulus that's proposed, and all the money in fifth stimulus. When third stimulus was passed, I said, yeah, you're going to get a $14 stimulus check. That's easy. But there's a lot of money, upwards of $15,000 or more, that you can apply for to get under third stimulus. And I want you to get that money because it dwarfs the value of a check, stimulus check. And viewers are killing it. So consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment to get delivered to you daily what's in third and fourth and fifth stimulus. Which brings us back now to the final part and the biggest part of the fourth stimulus check update of 2021 this Sunday morning. Now, on Saturday morning, sorry, you do have an extra day of the weekend still. So, on Friday, I told you how the voting process had been inverted, and that was part of the deal by the president. That has not changed today, so let me go over how the voting process will go now and how it would have gone about a week ago. And then we'll go into what the bombshell is about that voting process. So here you go. If you're with me over the last year, you know that bills for first, second, and third stimulus always start in the House, then went to the Senate, and then went to the president. And more specifically, in the case of reconciliation, like third stimulus, they started in House subcommittees, like those people I talked about earlier in this video. House subcommittees, then off to the House floor, then to the Senate, 2-day vote-a-rama, and then to the president. Well, there was confirmation, and this is unchanged this morning, and then this afternoon, that fourth stimulus will, and the two paths will both start instead in the Senate. They will not start in the House. They will start in the Senate and go over to the House. So let's look back at that graphic again. The two paths will not begin in the House. Rather, they will both begin in the Senate, the recon and the bipartisan. And once they pass the Senate, they will go to the House. Now, here is what you need to know about that going into today, which is much unchanged. I fully believe that this is still fine for you. I don't think it makes any change. Why? Because when we're looking at third stimulus and we're looking at fourth stimulus, Chuck Schumer is doing much the same with Nancy Pelosi. They understand that the way to get legislation written up, drafts of it, parts of the 1,000-page bill, is to send it to the subcommittees. Now, I've been talking to you a lot about how the House subcommittee would be working on language. But in the case of third stimulus and fourth stimulus, I've always said to you that third stimulus was led by the House subcommittees, but the Senate subcommittees were part of the discussion in drafting up the language. Because when it got to the Senate, they didn't send it to Senate subcommittees. They all worked as a team. So the fact that they're starting the Senate makes no difference. I truly still believe that Senate subcommittees and House subcommittees are working hand in hand to write up the legislation, which ultimately becomes your legislation. So nothing different for that at all. Do I worry that it's starting in the Senate? Absolutely not. Not much of anything there either. So then what is the breaking news that's such a bombshell today, LA? So here's the breaking news. And as always, I'm putting it ironically in the fake narrative section of this video. Why? The source of this news story is coming from a conservative slanting publication that is usually going after the president, saying very negative statements. Every day there's a negative statement about the president. There's usually nothing positive. So I want you to understand who is the bearer of the story. But ultimately, when you look at the story, you say, Is there some potential truth to the story? Because it sounds very potential. There are some direct quotes. So you're going to hear with me that you're going to hear some direct quotes. So there are some truths to some of these stories. So let me go over what happened and why this is interesting. Remember how I told you that the president walked out on that Thursday, said, I have a deal. And I said, he doesn't have a deal. He just agreed that there would be two paths. Well, did he have an agreement with anyone that there would be two paths? Absolutely. That is unchanged today. So where is the shocker for this afternoon's LA broadcast? Right after he said that, shortly thereafter, later in the day, he said to press, and his press secretary said something along the same lines, what I reported to you on Friday, that they're going to vote on the recon and the bipartisan at the same time. And I also used the papers as my prompt when I was describing this yesterday, that they would like approach the center saying, hey, you vote in favor of the recon? I do. Do you vote in favor of the bipartisan? I do. They would do the same voting at the same time. Remember that from Friday? And that they would ultimately call the votes on the two things at the same time to ensure that the two things would pass at the same time. And then I said they would go to the House with Nancy and they would vote on the same time. And then I said they would go to the president's table. And I actually said he would have two pens. He'd sign one over here and he'd sign one over there. Remember that? So the news reports, this news report from a conservative slanting paper now says that that item of having two things voted on at the same time was not discussed by anyone, and that the president just inserted that into the agreement, the gentleman's agreement after everyone left the White House. Okay. They're basically saying that, yeah, we talked about two paths, but we never talked about the two things would be voted upon at the same time. That the president just inserted that and sort of changed the whole gentleman's agreement. The report goes on to say that as soon as Republicans heard that their bipartisan agreement would not get passed unless it's passed at the same time as the recon, they started fuming, absolutely blowing a lid. To which the Democrats who were in the bipartisan agreement said, calm down, this is no problem. Now, let's understand which comments in this conservative slanting publication were on the record. Well, these certain ones were on the record. The press secretary was asked about this fuming. So she was asked about this report. And she said, well, yeah, it was discussed. Okay. And then other Republicans went on the record and said, no, it was not discussed. So then she said, yeah, Ms. Circle Round, range of options. Yeah, her, Muddle Blue. What did she say? She said to the press, well, if the Republicans want to go try to vote on the bipartisan by itself without having a vote on the recon being done by the Democrats, go try it. Ooh, okay. Don't be rude to the people you're negotiating with. That's why she's a press secretary, not a negotiator. Yeah. And here, so that was her comment. That's clearly on the record. So I want you to take that for what it's worth. And you've seen enough of her videos, you know what it means. Then there's this. Pelosi reportedly said that, the president reportedly said that I will have to have both of them on my desk ready for me to sign. Otherwise, if all you're sending me is the bipartisan, I will veto it. Oh, that's a little nasty. That's a little mean. Yeah. So he's saying I said we're going to vote on the two things at the same time. And if you only send me path number 2, I'm going to veto it because I need path number 1 and path number 2 on my table. If you only send to my table path number 2, I'm going to veto it and send it back to you. Oh boy. That's mean. So is there another one to that? Yeah, there's another thing on top of that. That reportedly Nancy Pelosi said, well, if you try to do just path 2 and leave path 1 alone, that when it lands in the House of Representatives, path 2, good luck. It'll be in the garbage can. Oh boy, she's doing a Mitch McConnell to us, isn't she? So Nancy Pelosi said, the president doesn't have to veto it because if you only send me one of two paths to the House, Republicans, I'm going to throw it in the garbage can, just like how Mitch threw stuff in the garbage can last year. You have to send me both paths to my house because we have to have both path. So is this good news for you? It is good news for you because now you have two sets of people really protecting your policies. Now you have, not only do you have Jalopal, but now you have Pelosi protecting you, and you also have the president really protecting you. With really sort of very, very good strategic moves, I would say. So let's recap again what these strategic moves mean and understand that substantively everything we talk about in this video is still where it is, but that they are preparing for a strategic move in the case that the GOP tries to throw them under the bus. This is like a bad Housewives reunion, isn't it? So we have two paths, recon and bipartisan. Bipartisan has roads and bridges. Recon has all your stuff, forced stimulus and forced stimulus. Now, if the GOP tries to only call a vote on the bipartisan, and for some reason they try to sort of not allow the recon and bipartisan to be called at the same time, then Pelosi will block and torpedo the bipartisan when it lands in the House. And even if it attempts to even get further, the president has said, no, I'm just going to veto anything you send me if you don't send me a two-path process. Meaning the president and Pelosi are threatening to block everything unless they get exactly their stuff protected in the recon. That's wonderful. It's sort of like, I told you earlier that the recon with all your stimulus is in a protected fort. And now they're saying, okay, we're going to carry that protected fort to the finish line. And if you try to put a pothole in the street, or you try to put a detour sign on the street and not let the truck carrying the fort to the finish line, then we are just going to, we'll just shut down the street for everyone. Wow. Really fascinating news. Now, I had to tell you this with a grain of salt as I started this third part, with you understanding that this is coming from conservative slanting publication. And ultimately, when it's a conservative publication that says everything negative about the president day after day, every story is negative about Joe Biden, that I want you to sort of take things with a grain of salt. We have had the statement from Pelosi on the record. We have the statement from the press secretary on the record. But we really don't know if those GOP members were surprised that the two things would be voted on the same time. That is all off the record. And that the fact that whether it is still an issue, in the case of third stimulus as a reference point, in third stimulus, there was a point at which Pat Toomey came out and did the strange thing where he said, I went certain language, and everyone thought for 3 days the whole third stimulus was imploded. It wasn't. It was just sort of a lot of dramatics. These are dramatic people with dramatic moments. So there you go. It's better for you to know all these wrinkles and all these details than for you to not know what they are. Because ultimately, when you're informed about the situation, then you know how you can deal with it. Finally, Purple Power Push. You need to keep on pushing. And as one viewer, WR, did a great job yesterday, he called Senator Coons' office. He's actually part of the negotiations. He's one of the closest confidants of the president. And what did that viewer do? He called Coons' office and said, we need stimulus checks. And what did Coons' office say? They're writing the monthly stimulus checks on the Senate side. I told you. You do a great job when you push as a Purple Power. Push Purple Power. So call up these senators' offices. Express your opinions. Call up Coons' office. Say, we need monthly stimulus checks in there. You need to make sure that those monthly stimulus checks in there. If you do not have a Democratic senator, and you don't have, if you have both Republican senators, call up Coons' office and be respectful and say why you need stuff and why you need these stimulus checks. Also use social media, hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Tag your Democrats, tag your senators and House members and your progressives as well. Stay with me because Evenings LA is going to be a massive recording. I have a sense that that it's going to run big like this one. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Calcino VIP, so you go know exactly what's the money you can get across the board. Stay with this video. In 7 seconds from now, it'll take you automatically into that Evenings LA monstrous big recording. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful afternoon. I'll see you on Evenings LA.